Alexander Hamilton, more than any other American leader in our history, rose from absolutely nothing. He was born illegitimate to a single mother. His father abandoned the family when he was age 10. He was orphaned at age 11. He had very little formal education as a child. And yet, working for some of the merchants in the West Indies, he so impressed them that they literally passed the hat to raise money to send him to New York to get a decent education. When war came, he was elected a captain of the artillery and immediately noticed by George Washington, who made him his principal administrative officer. And so he spent much of the war essentially running the army for George Washington. And then in the end, Washington allowed him to lead 3 infantry divisions in the bayonet attack on the British fortress at Yorktown. So he ended the war as a military hero, winning the last engagement of the Revolution. Hamilton was one of the first people to believe that the United States needed a much stronger government. Probably his most important contribution was that he organized, along with James Madison, the writing of the Federalist Papers. The Constitution almost certainly would not have passed if it had not been for Hamilton's efforts on its behalf. Hamilton is probably best known as the first Secretary of the Treasury of the United States under President Washington. In that capacity, he created our currency. He set up the first national bank. He was the one who was responsible for organizing taxation and putting the nation's finances on a sound financial footing. When he became secretary, the nation was awash in debt. Its credit was in the basement. As he left as Secretary of the Treasury, we were well on the way to having paid off our national debt, and our credit was soon to become the strongest of any country in the world. Hamilton was one of the strongest anti-slavery leaders in the early republic. He was one of the very first members of the New York Anti-Slavery Society, and his entire life he opposed slavery and sought better treatment for slaves. It's particularly appropriate for Hamilton to be on the currency because he founded the currency. He was the one who decided that we would have a dollar. He's the one who decided it would be done in decimals with pennies and dimes rather than all the shillings and pence and confusing denominations that the British had. And so important was he to the creation of our financial system that his statue is the one that sits in front of the Department of the Treasury in Washington even today.